Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I'm Jill Bloom, Group Publisher of Roofing Contractor, and welcome to our Best of Success podcast show. It's such an honor to have with me my good friend, Trent Cotney, partner with Adams and Reese. Trent, thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, Jill, it's good to see you again.
Well, first, before we even kick off, Trent, congratulations on the new logo.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Adams and Reese spend a lot of time, thinking about what the future holds, and this is part of their overall strategy of putting a new logo and brand together. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I love it. Well, lots to talk about today in the legal world. First and foremost, we were just talking about contractors that just get punch listed to death. And how do you work? How do you try to, limit that in your contracts? What does everybody need to know?
Yeah, so the issue, Jill, and happens on both commercial and residential jobs, is you go out to a job site and you get to the point where you're substantially complete, which means that you're at about 95% completion, or you're at a point where the owner can occupy the property, and you start getting, punch list after punch list. You finish one punch list and then you get another one, and then you get another one. And these constant corrective items or alleged corrective items are used as justifications to not pay you that final payment.
Right.
So what I want our listeners to do is I want them to make sure that contractually there's a clear mechanism for, review of a project and creation of a punch list. As soon as you hit substantial completion, as defined by the contract, you get one chance to go out and inspect. You come up with one punch list. You go back out and you fix those items, and then you're done. Right? There's not punch list after punch list after punch list after punch list. Now, clearly, your warranty obligations are still there, right? But that deals with stuff that happens after completion, after you've been paid in full, and that's discovered after that. So the goal is think about it contractually, because if you don't, you'll get nickel and dimed until the end of time. So.
And are there differences between commercial and residential work when it comes to how they deliver that list to you? It's like, what do you?
Yeah, commercial is a lot more formalized. So usually there's a process within the commercial contract. For example, if you're using like an AIA contract, that's very defined, punch list, how you go about doing it and what the definition of substantial completion is. With a residential contract and a residential project tends to not be as defined, right? So you need to take a little bit of time and think about, how can I make this simplistic for purposes of a residential project? Typically what I suggest is, when you say it's complete, they've got 5 days to inspect. If they don't give you any notice of it in writing, then they waive any, stuff that's open and obvious, and you're entitled to final payment. And that's an easy way to do it. Put the burden on them, give them 5 days. And if you don't hear anything, you're good to go.
Very good. Got to figure out how to limit that, right? Otherwise,
right.
You got to get paid.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's strategies in place when it comes to certain builders as to how to kick the can down the road to keep that, to drag that out. Anyway, great advice as always. The other thing that we were talking about, Trent, that I thought would be really great to spend a few minutes on is you mentioned the OSHA walk-around rule. What is that? And I was hearing about it for the first time. So it's great to kind of tell everybody what exactly is it and what can we do to protect ourselves.
Yeah, so the OSHA walk-around rule was a rule that was enacted under the Biden administration last year. And what it says is that during OSHA's initial inspection of a job site, they typically do a walk-around inspection, which gives them the opportunity to go and, look at the project, inspect certain things, look at certain things. This rule allows OSHA to have a third party that's not the contractor participate in this walk-around inspection. Now, the justification behind this, the desire was to allow, union reps to participate in a walk around where maybe the contractor isn't a union. Okay, but it's not limited to that. They can invite an owner, they can invite competition, they can invite whoever they want if they believe that it is beneficial for their inspection. So it is key that, our listeners understand that if OSHA asks for a third party that's not the contractor to be involved in the walk-around inspection, that they should object. They should say, for liability purposes, we don't have coverage on this person. They shouldn't be there. They should also know that there's an exception if this third party would be exposed to proprietary or trade secret type information. So one of the things that contractors may have is they may have proprietary staging or materials or, certain things that they do from a customer standpoint that are unique to the job site. So those objections need to be asserted. And what I would do is say, no, we don't consent to that, at which point it'll go to the area director, and the area director has to make a decision. And usually we're involved at that point. So, it's a little contentious, but you've got to assert your rights. It's like everything with OSHA. If you don't, always be civil, always tell the truth, always cooperate, but know and assert your rights.
Yeah, it's fascinating when we talk through some of these details on, especially like the OSHA walk around rule, and it always makes me wonder, how did this even come about? Was it somebody? I mean, there was clearly a meeting on this, and where or how this became as a topic of conversation. It was a line item in a meeting, at some point, and how did that come about to even seem like that should be a good idea? There was probably good intentions, but then it's always easy to take that to a whole nother level, because I can see the OSHA's best friend being a competitor to a job he's going to, like you were just saying, a job he might have to go inspect. And he'd be like, hey, why don't you come help me? Because you might see something that I don't, right? The good intentions can go south really quick.
Yeah, and that's like a lot of the legislation we see. Unfortunately, this one in particular was driven by, Biden's pro-union push. But the way that it's written, it's wide open, and I don't like it from a liability standpoint and the potential exposure and risk that the contractor has by having a third party involved in an inspection they shouldn't be involved in. So.
Got it. Well, Trent, we have FRSA coming up pretty soon.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're speaking as you do every year, which is always great to see you in person and hear your presentations. But what do you think you're going to be talking about? I mean, it's a little bit, so that could always change. But if anybody wants to come to FRSA and wants to come listen to you, what are they going to hear?
Yeah, so got a lot of great speaking opportunities. Going to be talking about contractor licensing, the latest on construction contracts and the provisions you need, and then there's an update, everything current as of the first week of June when the expo is. So I will update everybody on tariffs and immigration and anything else that's top of mind, and hopefully give a lot of value to anyone that's attending.
Well, that is definitely on top of everyone's mind is tariffs. It's happening. Not happening, then it's happening, then it's not happening, then it's higher or lower. Who knows what's happening? Well, Trent, it's always good to talk to you. It's always great to get some nuggets of information legally, because it definitely helps everybody that's listening. If anybody has any questions, though, how do they find you?
Sure, they can hit me up via email, trent.cotney@arlaw.com, or anywhere social @Trent Cotney.
Sounds great. And if anybody has any questions for us, make sure you visit roofingcontractor.com or wconline.com, and stay safe and healthy. And we can't wait to talk to you soon. Thanks again, Trent.
Thank you.